So the Penguins are struggling, and before I get into this video, I just want to apologize a little bit because I haven't made a video in like over a week. It's because I got sick, and I'm still a little bit sick, but like I could still make the video. And the crazy thing is, my last video, which was over a week ago, was titled "The Penguins are heating up," and now I'm making a video titled "The Penguins are struggling." So it's just, you know, what's going on here. But I guess whatever. Let's just get into it. I have some things I want to talk about today. All right, so in this video, I'm going to be talking more about the management / coaching more than I am going to be talking about the players. All right, let's start with Rutherford. As I was saying, so Jim Rutherford, my problem with him is that he's had two bad or mediocre to bad off seasons, the last two off seasons, the one that just happened and the one before that. We start with last year, 2017, at the draft. He trades a first-round pick for Ryan Reaves. You guys know how I felt about that. The whole year I was complaining about that. And I know the argument is like, okay, yeah, he got a second-round pick and he just moved up 20 spots, whatever. The thought was he traded a first-round pick at the time for something the Penguins didn't need. He knew Nick Bonino at the time wasn't going to sign. He knew Matt Cullen wasn't going to sign. GMs know their players aren't going to sign. He didn't just go into free agency, oh yeah, Nick Bonino's going to sign. Like, he knows that he probably, Nick Bonino told him that my price is this. Jim Rutherford is like, I'm not going to sign you to that much money. He didn't sign, which I gave props to Jim Rutherford, because the one mistake that GMs do when they win cups is they overpay their players. And Nick Bonino, that's what happened. He got paid $4 million in free agency. And as much as I love Nick Bonino, he's not a $4 million player. He's a third-line center who should be making nothing more than 3.5. So I give credit to Jim Rutherford for not falling in for that. But you're going to need a third-line center going into the season, and you go and you trade your first-round pick, which is like your only asset, for a fourth-line power forward, or grinder type player that you don't need. Then we move on to free agency, where the Penguins ended up signing Hunwick and Niemi. Now, Niemi wasn't really that bad. They signed him to 1 year, $700,000 or $800,000. It didn't cost them anything. It was, at the time, a smart move. You need a backup, you go sign the veteran. It was not that bad of a move. But the Hunwick was a terrible contract. And here's my problem with that. You sign Hunwick to that terrible contract, and to fix your own mistake, you go ahead and trade a young player, which was Connor Sheary, for teams to take Hunwick's contract. So now, and at the time, and I still think that was a great trade, just because you're giving up Matt Hunwick, which we did not need, and he was taking up way too much cap for a team who doesn't have that much cap to begin with. But the Penguins never needed to trade Connor Sheary if they never signed Hunwick. And if they did trade him, they would have gotten way more than just a draft pick or whatever it was. They could have gotten something decent. But again, he was fixing his own mistake. Whatever, you clear up $5 million cap space on that. Good job, Jim Rutherford, right? That was a good job. But then you go into free agency and you use that cap that you have, and you go and sign Jack Johnson. And you guys know I've been saying this from the beginning of the channel, ever since I started back in August or whatever, and even on Twitter before that and on Instagram, everywhere. I was defending Jack Johnson. I was like, okay, give him a chance, whatever. Well, I gave him a chance now. It's like, what, 10 games in? And that was not a good signing. And now this is what I'm worried about. I'm afraid that if you're going to trade a guy like Jack Johnson, who are you going to put in to package it? Like, you need, like, last year it was Connor Sheary. Who's going to be that young player that you need to put in that trade to make teams take that? Like, I'm thinking, is it going to be Daniel Sprong, Brian Rust, maybe Jake Gensel? I don't want Jim Rutherford to keep on making these mistakes and then trading good young players to get rid of your own mistake. That's my little beef with that. Like, that's his second, like, he didn't learn from the Hunwick trade, or Hunwick signing. He goes and he signs Jack Johnson to an even worse contract. And then they go and sign Matt Cullen, which I loved at the time. I remember July 1st when they signed Matt Cullen, I was acting like how the Leafs were acting when they signed Tavares. I was so happy. I was jumping up and down for a 41-year-old player signing. I was just so happy. But now that I look at it, I was just letting the emotion get in my way because, Matt Cullen signing, the dad, team dad, it was, you loved it. It was, he won 2 cups with us, his kids, the family, it was a nostalgic feeling, right? But now that I look at it, it was very unnecessary. The guy's 42 years old. They play him 14 minutes a night. He's going to burn out by the time 2019 hits. When you could have signed, or you could have kept JSD, who's having a great year with the Devils. You could have maybe, a guy like Teddy Bluger could have been playing, or Zach Aston-Reese, who's killing it in the AHL, could have been in the lineup right now. But instead, you have the 42-year-old Matt Cullen, who I love still, but I don't know if he's worth taking a spot from a younger player. All right, that's enough ranting on Jim Rutherford. And at the end of the day, I still know Jim Rutherford is capable of doing great things. He's been doing great things. So I'm just saying his last 2 off seasons, not the biggest fan of, right? But I still think he can pull off a great trade out of nowhere. His trades are really good. That's the one thing I'm not complaining. It's his signings that are the problem. So if he could just stay away from signing players and just keep doing trades, I think we have the best GM in the NHL. But whatever. Let's move on to Mike Sullivan now. Now, I've actually been seeing a lot of comments, more than usual, of fans wanting Mike Sullivan gone, fired, which I'm not there yet. I don't think Mike Sullivan should be fired. I mean, I could see why they want him fired, but I don't think it will happen anytime soon. This is a guy who just won 2 cups. By the time the Penguins even think about firing him, we still have 2 to 3 more years. You know, Mike Sullivan has years left to be to do his thing. It's once the Penguins start losing, let's say they lose in the first round or miss the playoffs, that's when they're gonna fire Mike Sullivan. And a good example is Joel Quenneville, who just got fired today. So, which I don't think was his fault at all. He shouldn't have gotten fired, but that's how it happens. A guy who's won 3 cups, which was Joel Quenneville, it took him a first-round sweep, a year to miss the playoffs, all those things for him to finally get fired, and it wasn't even his fault at the end of the day. So Mike Sullivan, for him to be fired, I think the same has to happen. The Penguins need to either miss the playoffs, have a couple bad playoff rounds until the management realizes let's change the coaching, but that's not happening anytime soon. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a professional, but I don't think Sullivan's going to get fired anytime soon. But I do also have some problems with Mike Sullivan, and I know why people want him fired. I don't want him fired, but I could see why. And here, I'm going to say some problems that I have with him. Number one, he's not, and this is the thing I've been complaining about all year, he's not rolling all 4 lines. You can't be doing this in game number 10, whatever, of the season. Sprong barely plays. I mean, he's been playing more lately, which is good, but he's still playing on the 4th line. You need to play Sprong more or trade him. I've been saying this all year. You can't be playing a guy who should be playing in the top 9 on the 4th line and then expect him to produce because you're not playing him in his right role. Here's another thing Mike Sullivan is doing. Here's another thing that Mike Sullivan is doing that I'm not a fan of, and this just happened today. He's actually changing up the power play units, and I'm about to read you guys the new power play units. On one unit, we have Mata, Malkin, Kessel, Hornqvist, and Rust. On the other, we have Crosby, Letang, Simon, Gensel, and Jack Johnson. First of all, don't split up Crosby, Malkin. Second of all, why? Why is Jack Johnson, like, that pisses me off. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't hate on my players. That's the one thing. I don't hate on Penguin players. But Jack Johnson should not be getting power play time, and it's been happening before. He's been on the second unit, I've noticed, with Olli Mata. He's kind of been replacing Justin Schultz. When anybody on the Penguins could be taking his job right there. Ricola is a better puck-moving defenseman. Oleksiak is a better puck-moving defenseman. Chad Ruhwedel is a better puck-moving defenseman. Jack Johnson should never be on an offensive situation. Like, let's say, I remember when the Penguins were trying to tie up the game against the Islanders, the first loss of the week, the first one where it was like 6-3 or whatever. I forget the loss. Too many losses to keep up with. But at the end, when they pulled their goalie for like 3 minutes, Jack Johnson was on the ice for most of it. Why are you putting, like, it just, for me, it shows that you're not really trying to tie up the game. Why is Jack Johnson on the ice? You could put anyone. You can put 6 forwards and just put Sprong and the rest of the forwards. Just anyone but Jack Johnson. I'd rather just take Casey DeSmith from the bench with his full goalie equipment and have him playing on the point. Why are you putting Jack, like, it makes no sense. I get why you're putting him on the penalty kill. That's what he is. He's a defenseman, even though he's not even doing a good job of that. But still, that's his role. Put him on the penalty kill. I don't have a problem. You're putting him on the power play. That makes no sense. Another thing I've noticed is if you look at the power play, there's no Sprong. I mean, I get why you don't want to put Sprong 5-on-5 because defense and offense matters, right? Power play, it's all offense, no defense. So what's the problem? Put Sprong, if you're going to do changes like this, at least put Sprong on the first power play or something, But no, he's not even on the power play. And this shows me that Sullivan doesn't want Sprong on his team. I've just, there's been so many chances you could put him with Crosby. There's been so many chances, like right now, you could put him on the power play. And nope, he's stuck on the 4th line. All right, that's enough ranting on Sullivan and Rutherford. I still do think they're good at what they're doing because, they got us 2 cups not too long ago. So it's just, little things like that are frustrating. The Penguins are losing, so I felt, I want to make this video. I do have full belief that this team can come back and win like 10 in a row or whatever. Like, they have that type of team. But right now they're losing. I wanted to make a video about it. All right, that's going to wrap up the video. Sorry for not uploading, for like a week. But, I made it up with this video. I think it should be a long video. Haven't edited it yet, so I don't know. I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully the Penguins, they play the Capitals tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a PFR for that, like a video after it because it might be a good game. We'll see. Hopefully they come through and win because I'm sick and tired of this losing. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.